I always believed marriage brought stability. It didn't. Love faded faster than candlelight in a storm. I married David because I wanted something steady, something unshakable after years of drifting through passionless jobs, lifeless friendships, and one-night mistakes. David was safe, predictable, kind. Maybe too kind. We met through mutual friends, fell into a rhythm, and within months shared vows. Then came his son, Leo. He wasn't a child. 22, tall, silent, constantly brooding like he carried entire galaxies behind his eyes. He just graduated from a college in Oregon. His mother, David's ex, had passed 2 years earlier. Leo moved in after the funeral. I barely knew him then. Didn't expect much interaction. But slowly the household changed. Leo didn't smile. Ever. He barely acknowledged me during meals. Yet, something flickered behind his glances. I saw it during breakfasts, when his eyes lingered longer than they should have. When I wore silk robes instead of pajamas. When he stood too close while brushing past me in narrow hallways. One Saturday afternoon, the rain poured down in sheets against the windows. David had gone out to buy groceries. I wandered the house, sipping lukewarm tea, bored, restless. The walls felt too still. I passed Leo's door, slightly ajar. From inside, I heard a faint moan. Not a pain sound. Something else. I paused. I should have walked away. I didn't. I pushed the door wider. Leo sat at his desk, headphones on, his laptop screen glowing. He didn't notice me at first. His eyes were locked. His hand paused mid-motion. My breath caught. What he was watching wasn't a movie. Wasn't a game. It was me. A video. Of me. In the kitchen. Reaching for a bowl from the top shelf, robe riding up, thighs exposed. A hidden camera must have captured it. I blinked, stunned. My heart pounded like war drums. He finally looked over his shoulder. Silence. We stared. Leo, I whispered, but it sounded wrong. Weak. Too soft. He didn't apologize. Didn't stammer. Just shut the laptop slowly, deliberately. He removed the headphones, rose from the chair, and stood in front of me, close enough that I could smell his cologne. Cedarwood and sin. Why? I asked, voice shaking. His reply wasn't verbal. His gaze dropped to my lips, then climbed back to my eyes. He didn't look away. Not once. That was the worst part. That steady, undressing, unapologetic stare. I should have slapped him. I didn't. Instead, I stepped back, turned, walked briskly to my room, and shut the door behind me. But sleep never came that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the footage. Saw his expression. That hunger. The next morning, everything seemed normal again. David made pancake. Leo ate quietly. No one mentioned yesterday. But the air had changed. Tension buzzed in every glance, every pause. Later that week, I found a note tucked beneath my pillow. You wanted me to see you. Just that. No signature. I burned it in the fireplace. That should have ended it. It didn't. My friend, Clara, noticed something. We had coffee at a cafe on Maple Street. She studied my face, leaned in, narrowed her eyes. You look different, she said. Like you've got secrets. I laughed it off. Secrets? Just one. A dangerous, burning, impossible one. That evening, I dressed in black lace. Not for David. For myself. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Leo saw me again in the hallway. His eyes didn't blink. I didn't cover up. Didn't run. I started waiting for his glances. Started craving them. What was wrong with me? One night, after a glass too many of red wine, I stood outside his door again. I didn't plan it. I don't think. My hand rose to knock, then froze. The door creaked open anyway. He was reading. No screen. No headphones. Just a worn paperback. You always stand there? He asked without looking up. I crossed the threshold. Sometimes, I answered. He closed the book. You scared? He asked. I swallowed. Should I be? A pause. He shook his head slowly. Not from me. Then, silence again. But that night, I didn't burn anything. And in the dark, I dreamed of hands that weren't David's. Days passed. Temptation sharpened its blade. David remained oblivious. Too trusting. Too tired. Work drained him. He often came home late, kissed me absent-mindedly, collapsed in bed without undressing. I watched him sleep and felt guilt gnawing inside, but not enough to stop what was happening. Leo and I hadn't touched. Not physically. But we spoke with glances. Conversations built in the spaces between breath. Entire dialogues lived in silences. Then came the garden night. David was out with coworkers. The house felt empty, echoing. I wandered outside barefoot. The moon hung like a voyeur, watching. I didn't hear Leo approach until his shadow touched mine. "Can't sleep either?" he asked. "No." He stood close again. Always too close. "I keep thinking," he said. "About what?" "You." I turned. "Don't." "Too late," he said. That was when his hand brushed mine. Not by accident. That touch held weight. Intention. I didn't move away. His fingers grazed mine slowly. Fire surged through my spine. My breath caught. "Why me?" I asked. "You already know." No more words. Just tension. Just heat. Just the sound of two people standing too close under stars that didn't judge. I returned to my room. But my skin still buzzed. I pressed my back against the door and whispered to the dark. "This is wrong." But desire doesn't care about right. It only knows hunger. The following afternoon, everything felt louder. Footsteps, coffee brewing, rain whispering against window panes. My body buzzed, skin hypersensitive, every sound echoing with meaning. I avoided mirrors. Couldn't bear seeing what I'd become. Or perhaps what I'd always been, cloaked beneath polite smiles and well-pressed dresses. Leo was in the living room when I entered. Reading again. Always pretending calm, but I saw the storm within. His jaw tensed when I passed behind him, my scent intentionally lingering. He didn't speak. Neither did I. But he followed. Outside, wind stirred leaves into a slow, swirling dance. I leaned against the porch railing, arms folded. Then I felt him, not touching, but near enough that my skin tingled. We stared ahead, not at each other. "I think about it," he said. I stayed quiet. "You in that robe? The silk one?" "Don't," I replied, barely breathing. He stepped closer. His voice dropped hoarse. "You knew I was watching." I turned, finally meeting those hungry, dark eyes. "And if I did?" He didn't answer. Didn't need to. I walked inside. Not fleeing. Not surrendering. Just waiting. That night, the air turned thick, nearly suffocating. The television blinked quietly in the background while David dozed beside me, snoring gently. I stared at the ceiling, blanket wrapped tight like a straitjacket. Hours passed. Then a sound. Footstep. Outside our bedroom. I slid out silently, heart pounding against ribs. My bare feet padded across the floor. Down the hall. Toward him. His door stood open. No words. No gestures. Just silence. And in that quiet we fell. Leo's hands shook. Mine trembled worse. Nothing had happened yet, but the electricity crackled like lightning restrained behind skin. "You can go," he whispered. "I should." I didn't move. He stepped back, palms raised. "I don't want you to feel trapped." My heart clenched. "I'm not," I replied. He leaned against his dresser, exhaling through clenched teeth. It's not just about lust." I approached, slow, careful, uncertain. "What is it then?" "You." "It's always been you." His voice cracked. "We didn't kiss that night. We didn't even touch. But somehow, the distance between us became more intimate than closeness." I returned to my bed with lips untouched, but soul bruised. Next day, sunlight poured through kitchen windows, golden and judgmental. I brewed coffee, hands trembling. David joined me, kissed my cheek absently, flipped through mail. "You're quiet lately," he said. "Just tired," I lied. He smiled, distracted. Leo mentioned job interviews, he continued. Good for him. Needs direction. I nodded, sipping bitter liquid that scalded my tongue. Lies burned worse. Upstairs, Leo remained silent. We didn't cross paths that morning. Or afternoon. The absence screamed. Around evening, a knock. I opened the door. He stood there, shirt damp from sweat, eyes wild. Walk with me, he said. I followed. No words for blocks. Just footsteps and breathing. At a secluded bench beneath an old willow, we sat. I'm leaving, he said. I turned sharply. What? I got something in Chicago. Temporary. Internship thing. My throat closed. When? 2 days. Silence. That's good, I managed, eyes stinging. He looked at me with something raw. Pain? Longing? Regret? You want me gone? No, I admitted. We sat until the wind grew cold. When we stood, he didn't move away. His hand brushed mine again. I didn't flinch. I leaned in first. Our lips met, slow, soft, trembling. His hands found my waist. Mine gripped his shirt. Breath mingled. Time stopped. That kiss, it shattered rules, erased boundaries, destroyed every promise I ever made. And I didn't care. We didn't stop. Couldn't. Over the next day, we carved moments out of nothing. A stolen glance across the room, a brush of fingertips beneath the table, secret words whispered in passing. The night before his flight, I met him again. His room smelled of cedar and desperation. His suitcase lay half-packed. I shouldn't be here, I said. He nodded. But you are. I stepped forward. He closed the gap. Clothes fell away like lies unraveling. We became chaos. I won't describe it in detail, not because I'm ashamed, but because words can't capture what we became. Fire. Rain. Madness. Every touch screamed mine. Every kiss demanded more. Afterward, we lay entangled, silent, breathless. I'll never forget this, he whispered into my hair. I stared at the ceiling, blinking back tears. I wish I could. He left at dawn. David drove him to the airport. I didn't go. Couldn't. When they returned, David hugged me, smiling. He's got your perfume on his hoodie, he laughed. He said it comforts him. I smiled back. Lied again. Later, I washed the bedsheets 3 times. But guilt isn't something you can rinse away. 3 weeks vanished. Gone in hours, really. Each sunrise bled into the next. My fingers remembered touches I should forget. My skin still reacted to memories I tried to bury beneath work, laundry, gardening, anything. But nothing drowned him out. Leo. Even the name brought ache. David stayed cheerful, kind, gentle, oblivious. We hosted friends, laughed over wine, pretended to be the happy couple we once resembled. But under the surface, guilt thrived like mold in darkness. I caught myself zoning out, tuning into imagined footsteps, phantom knock. My heart still skipped when I thought I heard his voice on the wind. Then, something changed. An envelope arrived. Unmarked. No stamp. Just my name, written in perfect, angular letters. Inside? A photo. Me. Leo. That kiss. The garden. Blurred edges. Dim lighting. But undeniable. My legs buckled. I dropped the photo. Breath became razor wire. Who? How? Why? Was someone watching that night? A neighbor? A camera we didn't notice? My head swam with theories. My skin turned cold. Later that day, another envelope. Just a note this time. You break things you can't rebuild. I burned it, just like the first one. But the fire did nothing to the chill inside me. I became paranoid. Every sound became suspicion. Every eye, judgment. Even David's kindness started to feel strategic. Like he knew and was waiting for my confession. I started locking my door. I stopped answering unknown numbers. But I couldn't escape myself. Every mirror reflected someone I didn't recognize. Wide eyes, hollow cheeks, lips bruised by silence. I missed Leo. More than I should. Every day. Not just the way he touched me, though God, that haunted me, but how he saw me. Not as wife, not as housekeeper, not as someone filling space. He looked at me like I mattered. One night, I scrolled through old photos, birthdays, barbecues, that fake smile I wore before him. The emptiness I didn't even know was there, until he arrived. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared. Then answered. Silence. Then, "You still think about me?" His voice. Rough. Low. Unmistakable. I sat up, pulse racing. "Leo. I shouldn't be calling. But you are." He didn't speak for a moment. "I see you," he said. "What?" "I watch your window." A pause. My skin prickled. "You're here. Turn off the lamp." I hesitated, then flicked the switch. Darkness swallowed the room. Across the street, beneath a broken street lamp, a figure. Tall. Still. Watching. I stood, heart hammering. I moved to the window. My breath fogged the glass. Leo didn't move. "I can't stop," he said. "Neither can I." He stepped back. Disappeared into shadows. The next day, I tried to convince myself I imagined it. The call. The figure. The voice. I needed distance. Normalcy. I planned a trip to my sister's lake house, alone. Just a weekend. David offered to drive me, but I refused. I needed solitude. But Leo found me there. He always did. It happened the second night. Rain again. Always rain with him. Thunder cracked like a war drum. I paced the creaky floors, unable to sleep. Then a knock. Slow. Deliberate. I opened the door, already knowing. He was soaked. Hoodie clinging. Eyes alive. "You're following me," I said. "I needed to see you. This is insane." "I know." We didn't speak more. Words had no power left. We fell against walls, furniture, floorboard. The cabin held our echoes. His kisses tasted like punishment. My hands clutched him like salvation. Hours passed. We collapsed together, tangled, breathless. "I love you," he whispered. I froze. He felt it. Withdrew. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "No," I whispered. "Don't be." But neither of us smiled. Because love wasn't enough. Not here. Not for us. He left before sunrise. I returned home the next afternoon. David greeted me with flowers. I wanted to sob. He asked how the lake was. I said peaceful. That night, I sat alone in the tub, staring at the door, half expecting Leo to appear. He didn't. But someone else did. David. He stepped inside, carrying something. A folder. Documents. "Found these," he said. "In the drawer. Inside photos. The garden. The kiss. The second meeting. The cabin." I couldn't breathe. He looked at me, calm, too calm. "I trusted you," he said. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. His hands shook. "You betrayed everything." Tears blurred my vision. "David, No. Don't." He dropped the folder. Turned. Walked out. Didn't sleep in our bed again. Didn't speak to me for days. But he didn't leave. Not yet. Leo stopped calling. For weeks. Then came the final envelope. No note. No photo. Just a ring. Gold. Familiar. My wedding band. I hadn't even noticed it was gone. I stared at it. Cried for hours. The house felt colder now. Not physically. The thermostat hummed as usual, but something in the walls had shifted. The laughter was gone. The easy touch between me and David vanished. He didn't yell. He didn't demand. He simply stopped being mine. He moved into the guest room. Polite distance replaced affection. We became housemates, strangers with keys to the same front door. I kept busy. Cooking. Organizing drawers that didn't need sorting. Rearranging furniture no one noticed. Every corner reminded me of Leo. Of touches that scorched. Of whispers I could never repeat aloud again. I no longer looked at my reflection. Not after what I saw in it. David eventually started coming home later. Work, he said. But I recognized the change in pattern. The way someone turns their face to the sun after spending too long in shadow. He was seeing someone. I could tell by his clothes. His scent. The way he smiled while texting when he thought I wasn't looking. Oddly, I didn't hate him for it. How could I? I was the one who dug the first grave. One evening, I confronted him. Not with anger. Just curiosity. You met someone? He didn't lie. Didn't look away. Yes. Is she kind? She listens. That answer hurt more than rage ever could. I'm sorry, I whispered. I know, he said. Then he walked out. And I didn't follow. Weeks later, I saw Leo again. Not in person. On my screen. Late night, scrolling idly through social media, I stumbled onto a photo. Him. Beside a woman. Her hand rested on his chest. His eyes calm. Not haunted. Not like they were with me. Caption read, "Here's to new beginnings." My stomach twisted. I clicked away, heart hammering. I shouldn't care. But I did. He was smiling. I hated that it broke me. I stopped sleeping. Nights bled into each other. Dreams taunted me with memories, whispers against my neck, fingers on my spine, promises that were never made aloud but still lingered like ghosts. Then came the letter. Not typed. Handwritten. His handwriting. No envelope. Just taped to my front door. I forgive you. But I won't come back. I needed you to see me. To feel me. To want me. And for a moment, you did. That's enough. This is goodbye. No name. Didn't need one. I stared at the note until rain made the ink blur. Then I let it go. Didn't burn it this time. Just watched the paper disintegrate, piece by piece, in the gutter. Months passed. David filed for divorce. I didn't contest it. He offered to let me keep the house. I declined. Too many echoes. I moved into a small apartment. Neutral walls, no history, no shared past. It was lonely. But peaceful. Most nights I read. Sometimes I walked aimlessly through the city, pretending I belonged somewhere. I deleted Leo's number. Blocked him. Unfollowed every trace of him. But memory isn't a feed you can erase. It replays on its own schedule. At the store, I'd smell cedarwood and nearly collapse. In crowds, I'd hear a voice like his and lose my breath. But eventually, even those moments faded. Not disappeared. Just dulled. One afternoon, I passed a photography exhibit. On a whim, I walked in. There, among the prints, was one that made my lungs seize. A black and white shot. A woman in a robe. Silk. Back arched, reaching for a bowl in a sunlit kitchen. Light cut across her spine like a slash. The title? Temptation. I stared at it for a long time. Then I noticed the signature. L.W. Leo Whitman. My stepson. My sin. My story. Hanging on a gallery wall for strangers to marvel at. I didn't cry. I smiled. Because I realized then. He loved me enough to remember. But hated me enough to turn me into art. And maybe that was fair. They say infidelity starts with lies. They're wrong. It starts with a glance. A second too long. A silence too loaded. A door left ajar. It starts with wanting to be seen. Then ends with never being able to look at yourself the same again. I don't regret loving him. But I regret not stopping sooner. Because once fire starts, it doesn't just burn what's flammable. It scorches what you thought could never be touched.